obviously Sierra and Jones like to talk, but as they gain more and more confidence, I mean, does that express it? Does it still express itself even more?
No, yeah. You know what? I've always found though the real good ones have to say little because they know they're going to prove it. It's the guy who's really pretty average that talks a lot, and so everyone will notice him because he really can't accomplish it on the field the way others can. But you'll find out when they really get good, most of the time, they kind of just shut up and let their actions do the talking. And we're working that way. Where it all goes in the fall, obviously, only time will tell. But I like where we are now. We're a long way from where we want to be. We have a lot more work to do, but we're getting closer and closer every day. We're taking the right steps.
That being said, I mean, how difficult was it as a position just to be so thin and then have Jones?
That's been the hardest part. It's been really hard. And I do more coaching on the film than I probably do on the field right now because I just got to make sure I got the right guys in at the right time, and I'm resting a guy here, and I got a guy who doesn't know what he's really doing on this alignment, make sure he's lined up, because that's the organization of practice, keeping it so we can keep fresh bodies and guys through, and especially when Jonas was out a little bit last week, that made it really interesting.
Do you expect McDaniel or George Atkinson? I mean, do you know where they project it?
No. And here's what we know: we're going to have go into the season with 4 running backs. Where all that's going to come from, time will tell. How we go about that, time will tell. But the guys, we have some really good athletes coming in. We have some guys on campus who are really good athletes, and we start the fall. We played 4 tailbacks a year ago.
Yeah.
Most teams are going to go through 3 or 4 in a year where they may not be able to finish a series and 2's out there. Well, there's an old saying in football: you better always have a pair to spare. So if 1 went down, your pair to spare is 2, 3, and 4. So to be able to have that, it's going to be very important to carry forward. I feel good we're going to have the right people in place, and Cam's obviously very, very talented, and we wouldn't recruit him. We didn't think he was a good player. Now he's got to come show it on a college level, but we think he'll do nice. And then whoever we fit in that other spot, and I don't mean by ranking who starts, doesn't start, just by numbers of 3 or 4.
Is there an approach you take with Sierra that he responds best to? I mean, is it an in-your-face type thing, or sometimes you ignore him and he gets to the point? I mean,
yeah, I think any good teacher or any good parent is going to have a variety of strategies, and depending on the day. There are some days that, when you're out there as much as we are, and we get to practice coaching a lot, when you're in college football, we get to do this a lot, that there are some days that listen, I'm going to push him with verbally, and everything's going to be just, adding. There's some days it better be, nice job, here we go, because no one's going to respond to the same thing every day. You know how it is. You can go in and you can beat somebody with a stick. You're going to get pretty good at, once, twice. But if you do it every day, eventually it's going to turn you off. And so you got to have the ability to find different buttons on a consistent basis. And sometimes it's praise, and sometimes it's that attitude they don't like. But that's a necessary attitude. And it's not personal. But today, maybe it's your day in a barrel. Here we go. Let's get it going.
Are there some